Kimi K3 is here, and good God, Moonshot AI was not f***ing around. This absolute behemoth of a model is absolutely dominating the charts, and sometimes it even beats out GPT 5.6 and Fable. Just look at this benchmark. What the f***? If I was Anthropic, I'd be absolutely panicking right now. And if I were you, I'd drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. All jokes aside, Kimi K3 is so much more than just a model release. Like, no joke, I think this is a major turning point for AI. And we'll get into that, but let's go over the model release real quick first. If you aren't familiar with the Kimi family of models, they are open source and open weight models from Moonshot AI. Historically, Moonshot AI has always dropped some very impressive models, but Kimi K3 is something else, let me tell you. Now, we won't go over the entire blog in this video, but there's a few things I want to point out. Kimi K3 is the first open source 3 trillion parameter model with a context window of 1 million. Now, for comparison, Fable from Anthropic is a 6 trillion parameter model, also with a 1 million context window. I think 1 million is just becoming the standard now, which is fantastic. Now, this graph over here shows just how large Kimi K3 is of a model compared to the other popular open source models. I mean, look at it, it's all the way up there. That's a big model. The benchmarks on the Kimi blog aren't going to show the newest generation of models, likely because Kimi K3 was trained and tested before those models released, given as 5.6 came out last week. But Kimi K3 is beating out both 5.5 and Opus 8 just like across the board, which is absolutely fantastic, especially for open source. If we look at the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, Kimi K3 comes in third, which is like absolutely unheard of for an open source model. To put this into perspective, if Google dropped Gemini 3.5 Pro and it got third on this index, I would still be super impressed. But again, this is open source. Open source is supposed to be 6 months behind, but Moonshot just proved everybody wrong with Kimi K3. Now, what does this mean for the big companies like OpenAI and Anthropic? Well, I think OpenAI is probably a little bit nervous right now, but I really don't think they're going to think too much of it because they have an amazing model with GPT 5.6 that is pretty on par with the price of Kimi. So likely OpenAI has nothing to worry about. But I have no doubt in my mind that Anthropic is in absolute shambles right now. And let me show you why. Fable is likely going to be removed from subscriptions soon, so let's just remove it from this graph entirely. And Opus 4.8 is now coming in third on this graph, which may not seem that bad, but we have to talk about the price. Opus 4.8 is double the price of Kimi K3. And Kimi K3 is a better model. Like, literally, why would you ever use Opus 4.8? You won't. And let's add Fable back in. Fable is 3 times the price. There's no way Anthropic is not totally fucked right now. Now, I think there are actually a few things Anthropic can do to solve this. Figure out how to keep Fable on subscriptions and also make it cheaper and more accessible. And the big one is that they need to drop Opus 5 immediately. But that comes with some pretty big caveats. It needs to be cheap and it needs to dominate. Knowing Anthropic, I have no doubt in my mind that Opus 5 will be a fantastic model, but I'm pretty concerned about its price. Now, if we look at DeepSuite, both of the 5th generation Anthropic models are really expensive, especially Sonnet 5. Sonnet 5 is 5 times the cost of Sonnet 4.6. 5 times! That's absolutely crazy. And I don't necessarily think Opus 5 is going to be 5 times as expensive as Opus 4.8, because that would make it really expensive. But looking at how expensive Sonnet 5 and Fable 5 are, I definitely think Opus 5 is going to be at least double the cost, which is really concerning. And this is likely an indicator of a much larger problem that Anthropic can no longer afford to subsidize. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, these big AI companies subsidize these models when you buy through the subscription. If you buy through the API, it's like, and I'm not even joking, 20 to 40 times as expensive. So yeah, not looking great for Anthropic right now, and Kimi K3 is really hammering that in. And if we look at Google, Yeah, I'm not really sure what Google's doing, man. But that's for another video. Stay tuned. I have one final thought on the Kimi K3 release. We're still seeing how this model performs in the wild, and the full weights haven't even been released yet. They're coming later this month. So we don't even know what people are going to be able to do with it. But let's assume these benchmarks are true and this model rocks. Why would you ever use a closed source model from one of these frontier labs? It feels like an inevitability that this could really change a lot of things for these big AI companies. All of a sudden, it feels like they're far behind. How do they even catch up? Now, I talked a bit about Sonnet 5 in this video, but I made a whole other video about Sonnet 5, digging into why Anthropic even released it in the first place, because it's really expensive and it's not that good of a model. Go check out that video right here.